What is up, my little pretties? It's your mistress, the Showline is here, and today we are going to do another discussion video. And now this is another discussion video that I've been wanting to kind of make for a long time, and some people have asked, have you read any stories on fanfiction.net? And the answer is, yes, I have. I have done that, multiple times on my old account, which I am not going to name because, well, let's just say that all the stories there are garbage, and I'm going to explain the reasons why in a bit. But I'm going to say right now that I don't post stories on there too much as I used to do. There is a reason why I don't do that as much as I used to. But for those who don't know what fanfiction.net is it's kind of like a site. It's a site where you could post any story you want. Like, it could be it's a fan fiction, so you could basically do whatever you want. Like romance, horror, thriller, comedy, whatever you guys decide to do. And this is actually, I've read a few stories on there. I believe Barney's Diarrhea is on there, and that was the one Skyrunner wrote, which, shout out to Skyrunner SG1, by the way. And I think I've read one of my old creepypastas on there, and I say they were garbage. And, to be completely honest, fanfiction.net was pretty good when it started. But now these days, I just don't really use the site. If I'm going to look for a story on there that my fans wrote or something, then that would be the okay reason for me to do that. That would be different. But there is going to be a reason on why I started it. Now, I had a fanfiction.net account when I was 13 years old, and I got it in 2012. And in 2012, I started writing, fan fictions, like with Scooby-Doo, Teen Titans, and stuff like that. Anything anyone could think of. Now, OCs are welcome in those as long as you give them a description of what they look like and stuff. And, lots of people have gone on fanfiction.net. There are some creepypastas on there, I can admit. I found a couple creepypastas on there. Now, some of them are actually pretty good, but others are just not good. There are some horror stories as well. And I believe there were a few other stories that I might consider narrating from on there. And I did have a couple friends on there from time to time too, which I'm going to be honest about them in a minute. But, before we get to the reason on why I don't use fanfiction.net so much anymore, or, why I don't use it too much anymore, I'm going to be honest right now. The stories I posted were pretty much loaded of pregnancy stories. Now, I don't have a problem with pregnancy stories, and I'm sure most of us don't have a problem with it. But I can understand why it's not really some people's thing. They're not too crazy on pregnancy stories, which I can understand that if they don't like it. Like, I like pregnancy stories. The reason why I've been obsessed with them is because, well, mainly one of the reasons I want to experience all that in the future. Like, I want to experience it one day. If you guys don't like this site, the fanfiction.net site, I respect your opinion. If you like it, that's fine too. I can respect your opinion on that. But about pregnancy stories, I have written like maybe thousands of maybe not thousands, but kind of like hundreds of stories related to pregnancy. Saying a certain character gets pregnant, a few times, and that's kind of how I started getting repetitive. And I am trying to stop doing that. And I can understand why people are suggesting me to expand my mind. When I write my stories is to be more mind expanding. I get it what Skyrunner's trying to get at me. Like, I'm not offended by that, but I can understand what he means. And now I'm looking into the site, and I have my old account on there, which I am not going to be naming. But I could definitely say right now that you might have heard maybe in one video or something, but I don't really want to talk about that. But let me say, that account that I have is the same account I had on my old channel, which is very dead, basically, because I forgot my password and I can't get on that one. So, yeah. Enough of that. I could probably do another discussion video eventually saying why I don't use my old account and what happened to my first YouTube account, just to kind of, explain you guys more less. Now, when I had fanfiction.net, I wrote tons of stories, mainly about pregnancy, but I did occasionally have, other stories that, are adventure and all that. But what I could definitely say is I did not know about grammar or sentence structuring or paragraph structuring too much at the time. Most of the times I'm sitting there and, just making run-on sentences and, not having the right punctuation marks. I was like around 13 and 14, and I did not know them too much, but I started to learn to use them a little bit when I got older, like 15 and 16. But the stories are still not as great when I'm looking at them. Look at the stories that I've written in the past, which I'm sure you could probably take the Wizard of Oz 1936 version as an example. Take that one as an example of that's how I used to write, is, run-on sentences and stuff like that. And take a look at the stories that I've written today. I'm doing a lot better. But even though I have some grammar errors and, sentence structuring errors and punctuation errors every now and then, but at least I've improved a lot more as I got older. And, I could take a look at my old work. If I did have screenshots, I would kind of, show you. But, maybe I'll do that for another discussion video. Maybe I'll consider, saying why I was not good at writing versus me now that I'm writing a lot better. That's going to be another discussion video for another day. But let me go to the main reason why I don't use fanfiction.net. Now, when I was 13 and 14 years old and I wrote so many fanfictions, a lot of people comment saying, oh, this is bad and stuff like that. When they read the story, I get reviews, either people that don't have their own account, they have just guests, and you have to, approve on the review. I can understand, why, but it's a little annoying. Now, I'm not trying to sit there and sound rude, but it is the God to honest truth. Now, when I look at, all the stories that, I've written in the past, and I look at the grammar is terrible now. Now I could barely read it. Because I was looking at them the other day, and I'm like, oh my goodness, why did I make this story so bad? I made a lot of Walking Dead ones as well. And then there was this one user, it wasn't really an account, but it was just kind of like a guest person. I can't remember this person's name, but if I ever do reminded, maybe I'll eventually, explain. But she or he comments on, my Walking Dead fanfictions, saying they're really good and stuff like that. And I could definitely say that I have done a really good job in the past, but now, here comes the thing why I don't use it, is a lot of people were harassing me and bullying me on fanfiction.net. Now, I'm not trying to sit there and sound rude, but I got, some couple accounts saying, oh, your story's crap, delete your story or something like that. I got a lot of those comments on my fanfiction. Like, I could understand, if they were trying to give, doing literally good criticism, but they were just insulting me, saying, delete your account, delete your story, and stuff like that. This is bull. I got a lot of those accounts, and, I felt very hurt. I've reported the comments to see if fanfiction.net would do anything about it, and they never did. That kind of makes me mad that they never the staff never sat there and, do anything, with those comments, harassing me. I've reported them for harassment and bullying. Some of the comments I've sent, they sent on my stories, most of them, saying, delete your story, delete this, on stuff like that. Here's the thing I'm going to say right now. If you're on fanfiction.net and you see someone, writing a story with bad grammar, don't sit there and, harass them or anything like that, because the staff of fanfiction.net can go after you if you're harassing people. You need to sit... If you're going to, if you read a story and, it's not good because of the grammar, maybe what you should do is, you shouldn't, harass people or send hate comments, because I got a lot of hate comments when it comes to writing those stories. I had a lot of hate comments, which is probably the reason why I left fanfiction.net, is because, there was even a couple trolls that raided my review section of, certain places. I got a couple of trolls doing that. And I have blocked them. I have tried blocking them, which I did. And they make new accounts and they do the same thing. I've done the same thing. And I've reported those comments. But, the staff still didn't do anything about those comments. Even though, if they were trying to help me improve on my grammar and stuff, they should have, sat there and, explain it to me calmly. Instead of sitting there, spouting hate, they should say, hey, your story was okay, but there was some errors. Can you try, using this or something? They could have sat there and do that. But those people are obviously, didn't care at the time. And they, and this is something that really made me mad, is this, I think a few comments I saw was saying, oh, you write like a 6-year-old. That actually made me so mad. I actually got so pissed off at some of those comments. I'm like, dude, I am 14 years old. He's like, well, yeah, why is a 14-year-old, 50-year-old girl sitting there writing pregnancy stories and the story grammar's not good? Okay. I was not getting very happy, and I was getting very annoyed with those comments, which is probably why I left fanfiction.net. I will only go back on there to read certain stories, but I would not be writing them anymore, and that's kind of the reason why I left fanfiction.net. Maybe I'll change in the future. Maybe I'll give the site another chance. But we all know it's not going to happen, is because, the harassment is going to happen again. And I can definitely say, even though I write a better story, they still went after me. Those trolls still went after me on it. And, I kept getting harassed too much. I really barely had any friends on, fanfiction.net. I've made a few friends, but, I talk to them, almost every day. But, it's like almost every few months. I was talking to this one user who, which you've probably seen her in a few of my live streams. She's also known as Fiona something. But she retired fanfiction after going on hiatus for a certain amount of time because I had a feeling maybe trolls were harassing her on there. I would not, doubt that would be the case. But I could definitely say that I feel bad for her for that. And, I'm being completely honest when I say this. Now, to the trolls that were harassing me, who are watching this video, I really hope that they regret doing what they were doing, but understanding the fact that I have autism. Even I have autism today, I still try to improve, but, with my autism back then, I did not know. And they shouldn't have sat there and, do that, trolling me. But if they see this video, I have a feeling they're gonna, come on and apologize to me for the way they did. But even though I may or may not forgive them, I just hope they don't do that again. And, I'm going to say honest that, there's another user that did have a fanfiction.net account. I don't know if she still does, but her name, you guys have seen her name, Abby Studios. She said that she actually, was not happy with one of my fanfiction stories. I think it was a Walking Dead one. I can't remember. But yeah, she did say that she did harass me. Well, not really harass, but kind of, criticized in my stories. But she did apologize, and we forgave each other, as she said my grammar is now improved over the last little while. And she's actually writing a Walking Dead fanfiction that I am planning to hopefully re-narrate it once I get a chance. Now, Abby Studios, if you're watching this, I give you a shout out, and I am glad to have you as a friend, even though we didn't get along at first, but I'm glad we changed our ways. Now, with that being said, there is another reason why I don't use fanfiction.net anymore. Is over time, when people came on there and say my grammar's terrible and stuff like that, I lost my motivation to write stories. I lost my motivation right there, and I didn't really go on the site very too much, only to message, certain people. But, Now these days, I rarely go on fanfiction.net. I would only go on there maybe just to see if people, messaged me. But that is literally about it. And I'm pretty sure, for those who are watching this right now, for those who have been my friends on fanfiction.net and that have stuck with me, I want to thank them for doing that. And to be completely honest, looking back at what happened, with me, what I used to do with my fanfictions, I now understand that they were trying to help me, but they must have overreacted. And that's probably why I lost my motivation to write. And I lost interest on the site too, which is kind of the reason why I didn't really type into fanfiction.net stories too much. But, I wrote a couple creepypastas on there. On another account that I made another account on there because I didn't really use my other one. But, the grammar's still terrible on those. But take a look at them that I wrote, the Wizard of Oz 1936 version. Take a look at that story. And take a look at the ones that I have made. The stories I've made right now these days are on fanfiction.net. Take a look at them and realize that I have improved on my writing as far as I can go. I've been improving, and I'm still going to continue to write and get better. But the reason why I'm not going to use fanfiction.net anymore is because I am tired of putting up with people that can't handle, can't handle the fact that I have autism and that my writing was terrible back then. And they didn't encourage me to do certain things. Well, very few people did. Those very few people who encouraged me to, get better at writing, I appreciate what they did. And I can understand where they're coming from and stuff like that. But yeah, that's kind of the reasons why. That's one of the reasons why I don't use fanfiction.net. Now, I'm not going to delete any of the stories on those accounts because I want to have them as an example. Because, I could do like a fanfiction fail series. I could do that one day and have an episode where I go through one of my stories and read it and say, I wrote this, I could end up doing that, but, it's hard to say. But I want to say right now that, just kind of an explanation on why I don't use my account on fanfiction.net so much anymore. Just to kind of, give a better explanation to those who are wondering. To those who still use fanfiction.net, I still respect your opinion. If you still write stories on there, that's fine. For those who want to take look at stories, I understand. You could still do that. I will still be reading those stories on fanfiction.net if I can find good ones, but I will not be posting any stories on there anymore. That is why I moved to Wattpad. Wattpad, the users there are very friendly and they're not as toxic as the trolls on, fanfiction.net. The people on fanfiction.net that were toxic and trolls, they are not on Wattpad, and I'm very glad they are not. So that's why I use Wattpad. Even though I haven't been on Wattpad in a while, I still check it there every now and then. I could definitely say, Wattpad's a much better community. Because in fanfiction.net, I'm going to say right now, you are going to run into toxic people. I'm just warning you right now. And toxic communities and fan bases. If you watch my toxic community fan base discussion video, then you'll understand more. But for those who have not seen it, I highly recommend you check that out. Anyways, what did you all think about this discussion video? Do you agree with me? Do you not? Also, what would we have done better on this discussion video? If I'm missing any information, let me know in the comments down below. If you have any experience that happened to you, the same thing to me or something similar, let me know in the comments down below. I'm the Shadow Linus. Thank you so much for watching today's episode or today's discussion video. If you're brand new here to this channel, be sure you like, comment, subscribe because I make brand new videos every day. Don't forget to ring the notification bell to when I upload. And with always, I will be seeing you all in the next video. Peace